Okay, welcome to the Lawndale City Council, the regular meeting of the Lawndale City Council, Monday, June the 15th. I'm going to ask the city clerk, the assistant city clerk, to give us the roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Suarez.
Here.
Councilmember Osborne.
Here.
Councilmember Reed.
Here.
Councilmember Kearney.
Here.
Mayor Pullman Miles.
Here.
All members present.
All righty, thank you for that. Let's have our flag salute led by Mayor Pro Tem Bernadette Short.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem. Okay, let's have Captain Allen. He's available?
Yes, I am, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. I'm here tonight to present the Public Safety Report for June 2nd through June 15th. The last time I spoke with you, Los Angeles County was in the middle of civil unrest. The city of Lawndale was under a curfew, and many people throughout the nation were living in fear or anger. Today, I'm happy to say that things have calmed over the past week or so. The county is no longer under curfew, and law enforcement agencies have resumed normal operations. Though there are still protests occurring, they have remained peaceful and orderly. In fact, this past Saturday, a peaceful protest march was held here in the city of Lawndale. The march was well organized, well attended, and very peaceful. In fact, deputies from Lawndale Station assisted the marchers by providing a safe escort for them to City Hall. In regards to crime, the city's crime rate remains low. As I mentioned previously, the city's slight overall crime rate increase can be attributed to the increase of stolen vehicles that have been occurring throughout Los Angeles County. Fortunately, over the past month, we have seen a decrease in vehicles being stolen in our city. As a station, one of our primary focuses has been on the reduction of stolen vehicles throughout our station area. In fact, on June 5th, deputies discovered a chop shop just outside the city of Lawndale. Found in the chop shop were several stolen cars, guns, and narcotics. Several persons were also arrested at the scene. These arrests should have an impact on vehicles being stolen throughout our area, and especially in the city of Lawndale. As always, I remind Lawndale residents to do their part in reducing theft crimes by locking their vehicles and securing valuables out of public view. We continue to monitor the Great Western and Baymont hotels. There has been nothing to note in regards to criminal activity at those locations. Things have been very peaceful. This concludes my report, and I'd be happy to entertain any questions you may have.
This is Mayor Pro Tem Suarez. I do have a question, or
yes,
rather a comment. So we've been getting a lot of people inquiring about the fireworks, the illegal fireworks that have been going on. I've even seen a few posts on Nextdoor about people like commenting on how they must not be giving out fines. So I know we've gone over this in the past about how fines and tickets are issued and how it's, the process and how you have to see the individual with the illegal fireworks and whatnot. So maybe you could give a brief description of that.
Yeah, I mean, like all fines and actually crimes in that matter, the fireworks deputy does have to actually see the person lighting them off. I mean, just the fact that they come from a certain location, the deputies get there, they can inquire, but it's a ticket that's given to a person as an individual, not necessarily to a homeowner, et cetera. It has to actually be observed. One of the things that the city has done is on the weekends, you guys have increased your fireworks patrol. City manager has arranged that so that your SAOs are being used for that purpose starting this weekend, and obviously going into July 4th, and then you're going to be having extra patrols, obviously, for July. So we are stepping up our fireworks enforcement beginning this week, and so hopefully that will have an impact on the fireworks problems.
Okay, thank you for that.
Mayor, this is Councilman Kearney. I have a question for Captain Allen.
Yes, sir.
Today, about between noon and 1 o'clock, there was some kind of disturbance on 154th and Hawthorne on the east side by El Polo Inca. Do you know what that was? You had 5 sheriff cars out there. There was a traffic accident.
No, No, I'm not aware of what that would have been.
Could you find out? Let me
But
know.
I can find out. I'll find out. Yeah, definitely. I'll find out for you and let you know, though. It was, you said between 12 and 1 o'clock at 154th and Hawthorne?
Yeah, on the east side of Hawthorne Boulevard. By Upper.
Okay, yep, I'll be able to find out for you.
Okay.
Thank you, Captain Allen. So it seems as though our mayor is having a little bit of technological issues right now, so I'll be stepping in to finish the rest of the agenda until he's able to come back in. So we will continue to item D, oral communications. If our assistant city clerk can please read those.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem. Let me, I think I might be able to handle that technical issue real quick. Let me go ahead and step aside real quick and see if I can get them on.
You're stealing my thunder. How are we looking there, Matthew? Are you able to dial him in again?
Somebody just called in. Bernadette called in user number 6. So I don't know if that's him or not.
Okay, I believe he's calling in, but if you'd like, I can start with public comment.
Yes, please. Let's have the public comments.
Keep it moving. Okay. We have 4 oral communications. First one I'll read, Francis Previs, Lawndale resident. I've lived in Lawndale for about 20 years. I am used to fireworks on the 4th of July, which I put up with. But this year, some residents have started setting off loud fireworks a month early and very late at night. At first, I wasn't sure if these fireworks were fireworks or gunfire or explosions. I was not about to go out and investigate the situation at 1:30 in the morning. The sheriff seemed unwilling or unable to investigate. I don't know if these fireworks are connected to the illegal fireworks that Lawndale allows. At this point, I would favor outlawing all fireworks all the time. Lawndale appears to be the only local area that allows so-called illegal fireworks, and understand that someone makes money on the sale. But loud noises in the night depress property values for all of us and make life uncomfortable for a lot of people and their pets. Perhaps the people making money can find some more socially beneficial way of supporting themselves that does not harm others. But if you can't outlaw all fireworks, at least enforce the current ordinance that allows the use of fireworks on the 4th of July. Second, public comment, Amber Avila Gomez, Lawndale resident. This is a petition that has gone out on the Nextdoor app. It was only up for 5 days and got a lot of people who signed 270. I'm sure we can get more if we need to. Third public comment, Patrick McCown, Lawndale resident. Literally every night since before Memorial Day, massive fireworks are being set off and they are ruining our lives. The current enforcement is a joke. The cops come out one time to comfort my neighbor, and within an hour, he's setting them off again. We need nightly patrols and zero tolerance with no more warnings. My mental health is suffering from living in an active war zone. Please do something. Please help. And then the final public comment, Pam London, Lawndale resident.
Matt?
When will the city?
Hello?
Yes, you're on.
I just wanted to make sure I'm on.
You're on.
You're interrupting the whole meeting.
Go ahead.
Okay. Final public comment. Pam London, Lawndale resident. When will the city begin parking tickets for street sweeping on residential streets? When will City Hall completely reopen? What about council and planning meetings? The continued rise of COVID cases, do we know why? Parties, work-related, or social distancing? The city has we need a permit sheet very poorly written. According to the sheet, you do not need a permit to change your countertop, but you need a permit for plumbing and electrical. Most countertops have sinks. So many kitchens have garbage disposals. So when a countertop is replaced, the sink is removed. The garbage disposal is at very least disconnected from the sink. So this means you would need a permit, but there is not a notation to suggest this. I've questioned this for years with council, planning, and code, and I believe the city needs to correct this sheet. Codes in the city need to be addressed, corrected, elaborated upon, etc., to prevent the misunderstanding that exists. Each new time a new code is added or a current code is modified, I request that the code be carefully written to prevent misinterpretation. Sorry about that. There is one more public comment for oral communications. Last one, Randall Abram, Lawndale resident. For the last 2 months, the neighbors in Lawndale have once again been bombarded by mortars. Last night, I made one of many calls to the sheriff's department and was told the car would be dispatched. But it was the deputy's discretion once there as to whether they would issue the citation. This certainly does not sound like a zero tolerance approach. I found it incredulous that at the June 1st City Council meeting, it did not appear that preparations have been made to keep citizens safe from harm. With now only one City Council meeting to go, Captain Allen had to ask whether the city wanted a fireworks suppression team this year. One of the City Council members even asked whether there was going to be a fire booth this year. What was more disturbing is that the City Council would even allow fireworks stands in the current pandemic. Why is the City Council not interested in the health of Lawndale residents? Lawndale now has 159 COVID-19 cases, 36 so far in June. Additionally, what impact might the current civil unrest have on the capacity for deputy staffing in Los Angeles County should July 4th become an issue? After a records request, I received the documents that fireworks applicants were required to submit by the beginning of May. These were detailed in a meeting that Community Development had on April 6th with the deadline for submittal on May 4th. 2 years ago, the Rotary Club missed the mandatory meeting and were granted a booth after pleading before the City Council. The minutes of the February 20, 2018 meeting reflect the requirements that are in place for a reason. After failing to follow them would not be tolerated. This time, 2 Rotary Club members attending the meeting with deadlines clearly spelled out by staff, but once again failed to meet the requirements by submitting their plan a month past the due date. Residents have learned that the best approach to getting anything done is to deal directly with city staff and the sheriff's department and bypass the City Council. So many times residents have brought ideas to the council, but as they might impact the sales of firework manufacturers, they fall on deaf ears. Recently, the Director of Municipal Services took quick action after our request, and in coordination with Public Works posted more no illegal fireworks signs in our neighborhood. The Sheriff's Department has been instrumental in notifying problem neighbors on our street before the 4th that illegal fireworks will not be tolerated. Sergeant Nitz has become the unfortunate guru of fireworks and coordinates the recruitment and response of his deputies to spend the 4th cruising through this war zone. I would like to thank the city staff and the Sheriff's Department for coordinating with the residents as best as possible. That ends oral communications public comment.
Who's Robert again?
Yep. No, you didn't lose me. Thank you for those public comments. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Torres, for filling in while we're having a little technical difficulties there. Let's see if there's any comments from the council on oral communications. Let's start with Osborne.
Thank you, Robert. Hey, just want to say the Mayor Pro Tem did a great job in your absence. Anyway, yeah, the speakers on the fireworks are not exaggerating. I think kind of understating it. I don't think it's been a couple of months or even more. I think it's been several months. Worst I've ever seen it anyway, leading up to the 4th. I don't know why. Maybe it's part of the shutdown. They're just going crazy. But what a waste of money. My God. It's nuts. And it's every night. And there's some idiots to the east of me who are doing it 2 or 3 in the morning, I think purposely to try and wake up everyone in town. But
Yeah.
somebody's got a better answer. I know I was thinking about this. This problem has been presented to a half a dozen sheriff's captains and a half a dozen or more lieutenants in the time I've been on council, and it's not going away. I don't know if banning legal fireworks would have any effect at all either, because the illegal ones are illegal by their name, and nothing's happened. And I think a lot of the problem is just a way to catch them, because we know when we've made the attempts on the 4th, there's dozens of tickets and citations and confiscations of the stuff that's happened. But the trick is, how do you catch some of these idiots when they're doing it from their backyards or hidden spots, or doing it 3 in the morning when there's nobody really around to watch them and then they run away? In fact, I did hear from a neighbor who stated that. They saw him do it over on the Lawndale School District grounds and then run back into one of the apartment buildings.
Yeah.
So I don't know if staff might come up with some more brilliant ideas. We've thrown everything out there in the past about drones trying to watch the skies, to people turning in tips, like rewards. There's probably more we can do if us and staff can come up with them, or residents, some other suggestions. I mean, just complaining about it doesn't really do anything. Anyway, that's all I got.
Okay, thank you for that, sir. Councilmember Reed.
Yes, illegal fireworks are just that. They are illegal. And
Yes.
we've all heard the challenges of why we have so much trouble trying to catch them. Even around here, we've had a few along the block, and I can't find out who it is. I can't track them. By the time they shoot one off, they leave off and come back an hour later. And it's a hard time to catch. Had actually a few complaints from this area over here, and stood out real late one night and find them shooting them off from the Redondo Beach side of the freeway. It's like, they're just hard to catch. So it's a challenge. It's not falling on deaf ears, but safe and sane fireworks are one thing. Illegals are illegals, and even if the city residents choose to say no more fireworks, we're still going to have this problem. That's all I got.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Councilman McCurney.
I think Councilman Osborne and Councilman Reed said everything that needs to be said, so I'll pass it on.
Okay. Yes, sir. Mayor Pro Tem Suarez.
Yes, I think that with the with the technology that we have nowadays, I'm wondering if anything has changed with regards to people reporting these fireworks. So I don't know if maybe our staff can look into that. I did see a council member from a neighboring city post some type of app or something where they're planning to try and use it so that residents can report it. So I don't know if maybe we can look into some of those things and what are their options. Because this is a huge problem, and it seems like if people do see it, it seems to be residents that are witnessing it, and the police don't have enough time to get over there to witness the crime in action.
Yes. Is that all for you?
Yes, thank you.
Madam? Okay, you're welcome. Yeah, I would just follow up. I believe it was last year we did look into the possibility. I believe it was an app similar to when you shoot firearms in the air, where they can kind of pinpoint where the firearms actually came from. I believe we found that to be kind of cost prohibitive because it's very expensive. In addition to that, obviously, if it tracks the area, you still would have to capture the person actually in the act of discharging the fireworks themselves. Even though it could put you in the area, but you still have to kind of witness it. When I say you, meaning the law enforcement officer would have to actually witness it in order to write the citation or to make arrest or what have you. That's the unfortunate part. Perhaps maybe it won't affect this year, but perhaps maybe the legislature or someone can give cities more, enforcement authority. But as it stands now, it's really challenging. As one of the council members, I think Councilmember Reed, I mentioned it. These folks know that they have to be caught in the action, and they know that not to have their whole stash on them, but to have a stash, in their house, and to go to the school district parking lot or in their backyard or what have you. In the event that they are caught, they only caught with one or two illegal fireworks, so that their infraction or whatever it happens to be would be reduced instead of their whole stash being confiscated. So that's a challenge. But we do hear the frustration. I've called the sheriff's department on many occasions throughout this season, and so has my neighbors. And quite frankly, a lot of these people who are doing the fireworks are our neighbors. It may not be a neighbor like next door, but there's somebody's neighbor. And for that amount of fireworks to continue, that tells me for some reason the neighbors are not, basically not reporting, because they're someone's neighbors. If they're not mine and they're not yours, they're somebody's neighbors, because it's not exactly as if people are, going to another block or across town to discharge fireworks. They're someone's neighbor. So if we can get the cooperation of those who see something, if they would simply report it, at least the sheriff's department can have, an indication of who might be discharging or what area might be discharging, so they can stage some type of operation or what have you to capture them in the act. But we do feel your frustration. We'll continue to work on it. With that, I'm going to close the public comments and comments from the council, unless the staff had anything they wanted to add to those comments. All of them was concerning the fireworks. Okay. We will advance our agenda to the consent calendar. Item number 5 is the consent calendar. What is the pleasure of this body concerning the consent calendar?
Mayor, this is Councilman McCurney. I have a couple of questions.
Yes, sir. Go ahead and pose it.
On number 4,
okay.
Number 3, excuse me.
Number 3, okay.
Yeah, I think Cahono can handle this one. Is he on the line?
I'm sorry?
Good evening.
Yeah.
Good evening, Mayor. Consul, and this is Cahono. I'm online.
Okay, item number 3, where'd you come up with $49,000 to extend the contract? I read it, and it says that we still owe for 2020.
Attorney.
Yes. It says a staff recommendation is a total contract sum of $49,000 to extend the agreement through June 30th, 2021. And then you have numbers at the top that I'm perplexed with, and then you want us to recommend $49,000. So you're saying that this contract, the current contract, has not been paid yet through June 30th, 2020?
Good evening, Councilmember Attorney. This is Cahono. The current contract is ending June 30th, 2020, and the original contract is $25,000. And each application, actually, the telecom law firm charges about $22,450. And basically, the estimate that we had before was about 10 applications. And apparently this year we received only 9 applications, and but the contract is still $25,000. And this new fiscal year 2021, we estimated that we will receive approximately 10 applications. Therefore, the additional contract will be $24,500, and that will bring the contract amount. The amended one is $49,500.
Okay, so we haven't paid the contract for the one expiring on June 30th, 2020 then, right?
We did. we paid 9 applications that has been processed already.
Okay, well.
And if we,
I'll talk to you tomorrow about it. I don't want
yes, sir.
to do that. Okay. And then on number 8, Mayor, is
Yes,
the
sir.
warrant.
Yes, please.
I have a question for whomever, the city manager or community service directors. Why do we still have a fee on here for the Lawndale beat and for the unarmed security service? I thought we did away with both of them.
Hi, Mayor and City Council members. Mike Estes here. This Lawndale beat, are we talking about 199,709? I'm assuming MV Transportation for 40,000.
Correct.
That would have been the April bill, the last full month of billing.
Okay.
Just before we canceled service on May 4th, and that might be combined with the 4 days of service that we had May 1st through 4th. I'm not certain about that, but that's typically, Councilman Kearney, that payments typically run about 30 to 60 days behind. The other one was, can you refresh my memory on the other one?
For the unarmed security service of $1,065.27.
Yes, that contract runs through June 30th. So it looks like we'll probably have 2 more billing cycles for that. We're probably 1 behind, then we'll have 1 more. So May 30th or June 30th is coming quickly, but we will be free of those payments. I would assume after probably the July 6th City Council meeting, I'm assuming.
Okay, so we won't have any more these $40,000 for Lawndale beat anymore? This is the last.
I haven't had a chance to look at it, but if we see anything for the Lawndale beat, it'll be a small invoice for May 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. But I do want to mention something else, if I can, is there will be another payment to MV Transportation coming up soon, because they are charging us for fixed assets, which is the depreciation of the vehicles, which is just part of the normal standard billing. But there will be a small charge for that once we work out some grant funding and get that taken care of.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And Robert, that's all I had to say.
Yes, sir. All righty. Thank you, sir. Okay. What is the pleasure of this body concerning the consent calendar?
So Councilman Reed.
This is Mayor Pro Tem Flores. Oh.
Okay.
Either or.
Okay, let's go, Councilman Reed.
Okay, I'd make a motion to approve.
Okay, the motion made by Reed and seconded by Flores that we approve the consent calendar. Are there any discussions on the motion? Hearing none, would the council please vote? Mr. Assistant City Clerk, give us the roll call, please.
For the consent calendar, Mayor Pro Tem Suarez,
Yes.
Councilmember Osborne,
Yes.
Councilmember Reed,
Yes.
Councilmember Kearney,
Yes,
Mayor Pullen Miles.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, thank you, sir. Okay, we're at item 12 under administrations. Annual 2019 General Plan Housing Report. Let's have the staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council and the public. This is Sean Moore, Director of Community Development. This is the General Plan Progress Report that summarizes the city's progress towards implementing the goals, policies, and programs of the city's general plan. It covers the period from January 1st, 2019 to December 31st, 2009. Lawndale has 7 required mandatory elements, including 2 additional, an economic and air quality element. The community department maintains the general plan and monitors their implementation. The Planning Commission and the City Council oversee the effectiveness and relevancy of the general plan and its implementation thereof. The annual report describes the regional housing needs, as well as the goals and policies within each containing each element, and which goal and objective we reach yearly. And this report covers that annual report in terms of where we're at, how we've been doing, and what's been going on in the department. So briefly, the annual report is, again, it's a summarization of the actions undertaken. There were 3,024 recorded counter visits to community development last year, 124 site plan reviews performed and processed, 849 building permits were issued. The department adopted a shared mobility device ordinance. We also brought in several new businesses for commercial businesses and filled up empty spaces throughout the Hawthorne Boulevard specific plan area. Some of those businesses that were opened up in 2019 include the Target store, the Pet Boys repair shop off of Inglewood, the Appliance Liquidation, Combinations Boxing, Workout Gym, and other projects that are still in the process of 7-Eleven and dental offices still going to the plan check, as well as a WSS shoe store outlet that's scheduled to go in the old former 99-cent building. Some of the other things that we've completed towards meeting the general plan and the housing requirements, we prepared the residential design guidelines. If the council recalls, they adopted those guidelines last year. We completed, we've been updating and modernizing the zoning code, but we're going to be doing that again with the update to the general plan and Hawthorne Boulevard's plan. We'll do that comprehensively, so that's in the works. We're going to be updating the housing element as part of the general plan, so that'll be coming up. We're working with developers and residential and commercial and industrial areas throughout the city to incentivize them to come in by fast tracking them, one-stop shop, just try to get them through the process and walk them through. We've been doing that on a yearly basis. We're still looking at the reduced urban runoff, working with Public Works. We updated CEQA guidelines for development, and that kind of covers some of the main projects. The proposal is exempt under CEQA. The commission did review this report and recommended approval to forwarding on to City Council. There are no fiscal impacts. The City Attorney's Office has reviewed the resolution for conformance. Therefore, staff recommends approval so we can forward the report on to the Department of Housing and Community Development and Governor's Office of Planning Research for filing. This concludes staff's report. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have at this time. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you for that report. Are there any questions of the report from the council? Okay, seeing none, let's entertain a motion to accept the report.
Mayor, this is Councilman Kearney. I'll make a motion to accept staff recommendations.
Yes.
With attachments.
Okay. Okay, a motion's been made to accept the report along with attachments from Councilman McKerney.
It's Councilman Reed. I'll second it.
Councilman Reed has seconded the motion. Are there any debates or discussion on the motion? Seeing none, with the council, please vote. Let's have the roll call. Assistant City Clerk.
Item 12, Mayor Pro Tem Suarez.
Yes.
Councilmember Osborne.
Yes.
Councilmember Reed.
Yes.
Councilmember Kearney.
Yes.
Mayor Pullen Miles.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, sir. Okay, let's continue with item 13 concerning the November 3rd general election, municipal election. Let's have staff report.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. The item before you pertains to the city's general election, which is scheduled for November 3rd, 2020. To start the process, the City Council must adopt 3 resolutions. The first resolution, 2006-31, and recommendation officially calls for the election to be held to elect a mayor and 2 members of the City Council, formally designates the Assistant City Clerk as the elections official, calls for a special election to be held should there be a tie vote, and acknowledges requirements in state and federal elections laws and regulations. The second resolution, 2006-32, requests the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors consolidate our municipal election with the statewide general election, and its approval would result in our ability to receive the necessary support and services from the Registrar Recorder's Office for the election. The third resolution, 2006-33, adopts the regulations and formatting requirements with respect to the candidate statement for this election. As a note, the nomination period for the November 3rd, 2020 election will open up July 13th, 2020. For more elections information or to register to vote, please contact the Office of the City Clerk. This concludes staff's report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you for that report. Are there any questions of the staff report? Okay, seeing none, let's see if we need a motion for this. Can we do it, Madam Assistant?
Mayor, this is Councilman Kearney again. I'll make a motion.
Councilman Kearney.
Recommendation with the attachments.
Okay, so it's been moved that we accept the recommendation along with attachment by Councilman Kearney. Is there a second on the motion? Okay, I'll second.
This is Mayor Pro Tem Suarez. Oh.
Okay, I beat you. Thank you, Madam. Seconded by Mayor Pullen Miles. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, will the city clerk, assistant city clerk, give us the roll call?
Item 13, Mayor Pro Tem Suarez.
Yes.
Councilmember Osborne.
Yes.
Councilmember Reed.
Yes.
Councilmember Kearney.
Yes.
Mayor Pullen Miles.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Passes 5-0.
Thank you. Item 14 is an update on the use of the Best Western Hotel in the Baymont. This is staff report.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and distinguished members of the City Council. Thank you for this opportunity to speak with you tonight. This is Michael Reyes, Director of Municipal Services, and the purpose of this staff report is to update you on both Project Roomkey hotels currently operating in the City of Lawndale. The Best Western Plus South Bay and the Baymont Inn began taking in homeless individuals on April 23rd and May 27th, respectively, and to date, both hotels are quickly approaching full capacity. City staff continues to make twice-daily visits to each of these two properties in order to monitor the daily activity at each hotel. As of this afternoon, the Best Western has 94 rooms occupied with 106 clients, and the Baymont Inn has 94 occupied rooms housing 103 clients. This is a combined increase of 7 additional clients being housed over last week. In speaking with the PATH and First to Serve homeless service providers that are operating these hotels, the immediate goal is to work with clients and get them acclimated into a more structured routine so they can eventually move out of the hotel and into long-term housing. To date, there have been no significant incidents of criminal behavior or suspicious activity. Security continues to be present 24 hours a day at each of the hotels, and sheriff's deputies have resumed being stationed at the hotels for a few hours each day. Case managers for the clients are on hand at the hotels, as well as medical staff to check temperatures and monitor the health of all clients. Estimated annual funding requirements are unknown at this time, although city staff and sheriff deputies are monitoring the hotel, resulting in a reduction in time available for other duties. Staff will continue to provide City Council with Project Roomkey updates at all City Council meetings for the duration of Project Roomkey. Staff recommends that the City Council receive and file the report and provide direction to staff as appropriate. And I can answer any questions if you would like.
Okay, thank you for that report. Are there any questions of the report?
This is Jim,
This
and
is
I
Mayor
have
Pro
one.
Tem Suarez.
Let's go with ladies first.
It's just a quick question. And this is to Michael. Thank you for your diligence with regards to this with the two hotels. I know you've been working very hard on keeping us updated. Do we get the numbers or the areas from which these individuals come from? I'm just curious. I'd like to know if they are primarily South Bay or where they're coming from.
We have a contact with Laza that I communicate with usually a couple times a week. I have asked that of her. I didn't really get a great answer. They did say 44 of the current tenants in the Baymont are from the South Bay, but it was about South Bay area, which is spot 8 in terms of the homeless outreach service providers. But it was my understanding at the onset of these hotels that everybody was going to come from Spot 8, 100%. So if only 44 people are from Spot 8, that does ask the question of where are these others from. But I could look into that further. But as of right now, we aren't told for confidentiality reasons where some of these people are, who they are, where they're coming from.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Jim.
No, I'll talk to Mike offline.
Oh, Mike, I just have a quick question. Are they continuing to look at homeless individuals here in Lawndale that may be eligible? I know we did have a number of individuals that, when the program first started, that was accepted into the program. Are they continuing to to canvass the city to see if we have some homeless individuals that's eligible for the program?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Yes, my team is still doing daily outreach. We still enter homeless individuals into the LA HOP system on a daily basis. Some of that service has stopped or slowed because of the virus. So the county providers aren't doing as much outreach as they were previously, and a lot of them are tied up with the Project Roomkey's staffing-wise now, so they're not doing as much outreach. But our staff is still doing it daily. One of my officers and I went out Tuesday of last week to the 405 and Manhattan Beach Boulevard, the underpass, and we spoke with Marianne and Carlos, two of the homeless that live there. They don't have phones, so we actually put the call in. We were on the call for about 40 minutes. They were not accepted because they don't have any ailments and they're not over 65. That's also been true of a number of the other homeless that we've talked to. We've made calls for them, with them, and they don't qualify. So in the event of the recommended person that Councilwoman Suarez was speaking of earlier, he was qualified because he was over 65. But for a lot of them, if they don't have medical ailments or the age requirement, then they aren't allowed to enter the hotel.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, Councilman Kearney.
Yes, sir.
I don't know about the rest of the council staff, but I've seen an influx of newer, stranger individuals coming into our city. I want to know if the council has seen that or staff has seen that. There's some people.
Yes, I have.
Councilman Kearney, thank you. We are aware of that. We've noticed that a number of these residents that have come in were not people that we had contacted months ago. We imagine that they're hearing about the hotel and making their way in or being told about the hotel and being encouraged to come into our city. There are, in the first few weeks of Project Roomkey, because they took so many of our homeless off our streets, we did see the streets significantly cleaner. We are noticing a lot more homeless now that we didn't know a few weeks ago.
Okay, thank you. So I know, Dave, there's only one city, South Bay City, with another homeless shelter, and that's La Beta, in the whole South Bay. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, sir.
This is Councilman Reed. I too have noticed the same thing, and we've kind of talked it out where our restrictions were put in place on these things, but we still have the issue of trying to get these new folks back out of our areas without causing any problems. So knowing the challenges that are there, Michael, I still appreciate that we get some due diligence to get these taken care of.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, sir. We'll work very hard on that, sir.
Okay, thank you.
I have some more comments, but I think I need to hold those until we've had our public inquiry.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that report, for those comments. Let's move to item 15, concerning the modification of.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, point of order.
You still want to do it? Okay, yes, sir.
No, we do have a public comment on this item.
Okay, let's have the city clerk read that public comment in.
Right. Item 14 from Pam London, resident. I want to be clear. I agree with that homeless people need to be protected from COVID-19. I do not have a solution and understand that Project Roomkey was the one put forward. My issue is and remains with the idea that Lawndale did nothing to avoid it. Our city manager did nothing. Our council did nothing. The Best Western in Lawndale became a temporary homeless shelter. Still, there was no action to discourage other hotels from converting. After the Best Western conversion, I asked if there were others considering converting. The question was mostly avoided. I asked if the city was contacting other hotels to discourage more conversation. Again, mostly avoided. And another meeting, I asked again, and the mayor suggested another was in the works, but had not committed fully. And now Little Lawndale has the Bayview conversion as well. A city less than 2 square miles has 2 hotels converting to homeless shelters on the city's main boulevard. Spectacular. Beach cities would never allow this. I believe those cities would have their heads on sticks after residents dismembered them. Lawndale does nothing. How many more hotels will convert in Lawndale before someone steps up to the plate and accepts responsibility? Who do you view as responsible to the residents of Lawndale to try to prevent further destruction? Is anyone trying to find out if these no-tells are part of the governor's plan for permanent homeless shelters? Does anyone care? I've asked multiple times. Is anyone trying to get an honest answer, or are you just sitting back waiting for them to ram that down our throats next? Has anyone asked how Project Roomkey will handle the residents that they brought into the city? Where will they go? How will they get there? Will they be turned out onto the streets and left without assistance? Who with the city of Lawndale will care enough to ask these questions and continue to ask until they receive an acceptable answer? Again, who is responsible? When the stuff further hits the fan, who do we blame? Who will answer for this major screw-up? Are our deputies continuing to spend part of their shifts at these hotels? How much of their time is spent at either no-tel? We have so few deputies, and the idea that they are being removed from patrolling our streets is criminal. Previously, we were told of a woman whom escaped from the hotel, was apprehended by the deputy, and I believe later expelled from the program. These hotels are not prisons, but she escaped. What is the purpose of the security guard? Has the deputy not been there, would the security guard have handled the situation? Why are there no-tel owners not required to provide their own law enforcement officers? They seem to be the only ones benefiting from Project Roomkey. Residents of Lawndale should not pay the price for no-tel profits. Has anyone noticed the presence of more homeless individuals in our city? I see more people that I do not recognize. Is anyone offering these people a room at the no-tels? Are they here because of the shelters, or is it a growing number for our city in general? Is anyone asking for an updated count when the shelters disband? Should this be a consideration for the near future? That ends the public comment for item 14.
Okay. Thanks for the public comment. Let's see. There was a lot of questions in there. So let's, some of these we may not be able to answer today, but if the staff can kind of look at some of these questions and maybe get some answers on for us at a subsequent meeting, that would be great. I'll try to write some of them. I wrote some of them down, but we'll get it from the assistant city clerk. There's a couple of questions in there that that need to be clarified. So with that, let's go to item number 15. Thank you for that, council member, for bringing that to our attention.
Yeah, I did have just a couple of comments before we closed up on that.
Okay.
You know, I totally understand the frustration. However, at the same point in time, if Lawndale was doing nothing, why did one of the board of supervisors in the county slap us down on the LA Register? So we have been doing as best all we can in order to address these. Many of those same questions we have already asked. And there is a workshop that our city manager is attending to talk about the exit plan from the pushing that we've been doing from there. So from that, that's all I want to say about that subject.
Okay, thank you for that, Councilman. Okay, item 15 is consideration of further modifications to the city operation. Let's have the report.
Thank you, Mayor. This is Mike Estes from Director of Community Services. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic and ongoing safer at home and shelter-in-place orders, the city made formal operational modifications on March 16th, April 6th, May 18th, and June 1st, at which several city special events and other programs were canceled. In January, the inaugural Lawndale Music Festival date was set by the Parks, Recreation, and Social Services Commission, who's the funding body, for Saturday, July 18th. That date was set back in January once again. In March, when the city staff began recruiting bands to play at the event, the COVID-19 pandemic had just began to take hold, and it was unclear how severe the pandemic would get. However, knowing that the pandemic could get worse, city staff discussed Sunday, September 13th, as a potential alternate date with each band. Subsequently, 3 of the 4 band leaders confirmed that they are available to perform on this date if necessary. A secondary check just this past week reveals that all 4 bands are now available to play on that date. The inaugural Lawndale Blues Festival will be funded by the Parks, Recreation, and Social Services Commission through the Fireworks Trust Fund account, made up of revenues collected from previous fireworks stand fundraising efforts. So once again, talks back in March revealed that all 4 bands are available to play on September 13th, if we're even able to have the event on that date as well, or the Blues Festival on the 12th. Staff recommends that the City Council postpone the July 18th, 2020 inaugural Lawndale Music Festival and reschedule the event for Sunday, September 13th, 2020, following the 8th Annual Blues Festival on Saturday, September 12th, 2020 at Jane Addams Park. And that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you for that report. Are there any questions of the report?
Mayor, this is Council McCurney.
Yes.
I'm okay with having the Blues Festival if it's still available, but I don't think we should have the next day for the inaugural Blues Music Festival.
Yeah.
I think we should just keep September 12th as the Blues Festival and try to do the inaugural Blues Festival next year.
Yes, I definitely agree. That was going to be my comment.
No objection.
Okay. So yeah, let's do that. If there is no objection, let's stick with the Blues Festival. Let's postpone the inaugural music festival until next year, same date.
Gives them more time to prepare anyway.
Correct.
Yep. Okay. Sounds like we have unanimous consent on that item. Okay. Thank you for your report. Let's hear from the city manager.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. Just 2 items to report, and it's more for clarification. Regarding law enforcement for illegal fireworks, there are 2 elements. So we will continue to do what we've done in the past in terms of enforcement on the 4th of July. So we are working with the Sheriff's Department now in putting together that team to provide that enforcement on the 4th of July. But prior to the 4th of July, there is a second element that we will have in place, as the captain mentioned. We are redeploying our SAO deputies to split their time between working to monitor the hotels, the Project Roomkey hotels, as well as to spend time also on illegal fireworks enforcement. And this is as a result of the concerns heard from City Council as well as our residents. So it's, it is a frustrating situation, but this is, something that we can do. It's proven, somewhat effective in the past in terms of us being able to find those that are setting off these illegal fireworks. We have issued fines in the past. So we'll continue to do that, and hopefully that will be somewhat of a deterrent for others doing the same. The second item I wanted to provide some clarification on was regarding what we're calling the exit strategy for Project Roomkey. And again, this is something that, of course, our city council is concerned with, but all other cities that have Project Roomkey hotels in their community, it's what they're concerned with as well. And that's what happens at the end of Project Roomkey. What happens to the homeless guests that are at the hotels? The concern is that they aren't left on, the local city streets. So with that in mind, I've been working with the California Contract Cities Association, and we've been able to form a committee. Well, we're in the process of forming a committee of city managers working with the county so that we can have direct discussions with them so that we can put together a solid plan, a plan for what exactly will happen with these homeless folks once Project Roomkey is over. I don't know exactly where this is going to end up, but we will be pushing for the county to find some form of housing for them, whether it's temporary or permanent housing outside of the host city location. So anyways, I just wanted to provide that for clarification.
Can you speak to while you're on Project Roomkey, can you speak to the issue of whether or not the hotels are part of the governor's initiative to purchase or to use long-term leasing opportunities for housing?
Right. Yes. So there has been discussion about that, of course, and I think the governor even mentioned it last week sometime as well. But the only concrete, if you will, only concrete issues that we've heard so far is that the corporate Motel 6 hotels are expected to be purchased for that purpose, for permanent shelters. Our hotels, there hasn't been any talk of that. It's not included in the agreements with those hotels, whereas I think it is in some other hotels. So, but if that were to occur, that would be something that we would want to, work with the council and consider our options for, preventing that from happening.
And so, also, can you speak to the other hotels? Are they aware of the city's position on this project?
Yes, I believe it was early last month. We contacted the hotels. We visited them in person and also sent them letters letting them know what the city's position was regarding homelessness in general, as well as with Project Roomkey. And we let them know in no uncertain terms that it was not something we believed was beneficial to the community. So those hotels do know. And even the hotels that are Project Roomkey hotels, we've let them know our position as well. We've let the county know, our thoughts and the fact that we're very upset that the county moved forward with this program without our knowledge, without consulting with us, without talking to us and getting our input, answering our questions and concerns. So, we have had several meetings with the county, with their county council. And unfortunately, the situation is that because of the emergency declaration that was issued by the county, they have a lot of power in this regard, and the courts have backed them up. The city did consider various administrative remedies to prevent the hotels from opening up as temporary homeless shelters. We looked at other legal options, and they just weren't viable. In fact, we have seen by example other cities in our same situation that have tried to take legal action, and they were very quickly tapped down by the courts in favor of the county. So we have done, we have looked at the various options available to us, and unfortunately, they just, weren't good options for us and weren't going to be fruitful for us.
Okay, and let me just say, I know you mentioned that we sent letters to all the hotels, but even prior to that, my understanding, this was even prior to before even the Baymont entered into an agreement, that they were fully aware of the council's and the city's position before they even entered into a contract with the county, and just disregarded and just did what they felt was obviously in their best interest rather than anyone else's interest. So it was not as if they were not aware of it. So although we sent a letter, like you said, last month or in a month or so, to all of the hotels in fact were aware of the city's position, including Baymont, before they entered into the agreement with the county, even though they received the letter last month or a month or so ago. I just wanted to clarify that as well. So with that, you have anything else you want to add on that?
That's all, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Any comments from the council on the city manager's report? Okay, let's move to the mayor and city council members' report of attendance. Let's start with Mr. Osborne. Councilman Osborne. You have none? Okay. Councilmember Reed.
Yes, so no city meeting since our budget meeting. However, I have met with two separate residents' concerns, one in the central Lawndale in regards to voicing concerns about the conversation of the city parks. We discussed some details in which we had already had that they were unable to attend the meeting and get. So I brought them up to speed on that. And then on Central West, I had a meeting with the 163rd Street residents, person who was speaking up for everyone in regards to the issues of homeless going in and out through that railroad right-of-way fence that's been torn up and torn down again. So we've got some, I asked city manager to reach out to railway in regards to that location, as well as just to be aware of what's going on and get a patch back into that fence. That thing's 40 years old and is beat badly, so we definitely need to get something done with it. And that's all I have.
Okay. Yeah, there's at least 3 points of entry on the railroad right away that's been breached for a while.
Yes.
So they need to look at it. And it's not just the homeless using that. I see people all day because I live right by it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just that particular hotspot, the homeless have started coming through, and we did discuss that there are other locations there, and we need to deal with the whole stretch.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that report, Mr. City Manager. Okay, we finished City Manager. We're at comments. Okay, so that would be the comments from Councilmember Reed and Councilmember Pat Kearney, isn't it?
Yeah, I attended by Zoom the Lobby Trust and Oversight Committee while I was multitasking with my granddaughter's graduation drive-through from Lawndale High, which Robert attended. Also, I attended the Black Lives Matter rally with the mayor, not a protest. And also, I want to wish all the fathers out there happy Father's Day and have a safe and sane 4th of July. And that's it.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Mayor Pro Tem Suarez.
I think I just attended the South Bay City's Council of Government Steering Committee. Nothing reportable there, and that's it for me.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I too attended the family march that was held in Lawndale from the school district parking lot to the library lawn. I also attended the graduation ceremonies of Lawndale High and losing your high.
That other school.
That was for you, Pat.
Yeah, no, the other school. You went to the other school.
Better school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and I probably had meetings with at least 6 residents, 2 concerning fireworks and 2 concerning police reform, and the other one was some miscellaneous. One was also about the school parks, or the parks in the schools.
I think we all had a conversation with that individual.
Yeah. Okay. With that, that's all I have. Next item on our agenda tonight, we do have a closed session. In fact, we have 2 closed sessions. We have one, which is a conference with legal counsel concerning anticipated litigation. And we also have a public employee performance evaluation, both of which are in closed session. I'm going to ask the city attorney to give us a provision of closed session.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The council will meet in closed session on 2 items as you referenced. The first is to confer with legal counsel regarding anticipated litigation, to consider whether to initiate litigation in one case against the Best Western Plus South Bay Hotel, Baymont Inn, and the County of Los Angeles pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D4. And the second is a public employee performance evaluation pursuant to Government Code Section 54957B. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we'll recess the closed session.
We're good. We're up. Mayor.
What happened?
Yeah, we're up, Mayor.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we're ready?
Yes, we're in.
Okay, so we have returned from closed session. I'm going to ask the city attorney to give the report of the closed session.
Thank you, Mayor. The City Council met in closed session on 2 items as agendized as items J17 regarding anticipated litigation and J18, a public employee performance evaluation. On both items, the council was updated, no reportable action. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for those reports. Okay, it's adjournment time. The next regularly scheduled meeting of the Lawndale City Council will be held at 6:30 p.m. on Monday, July the 6th, 2020. We are hereby adjourned.
Hi, John.